Okay, so now it's on to the results. Number 10 was x squared times 10x plus 5 times 10x minus 5. So you can write that down. If you did not get it, you can write the answer down. And if you have questions, find someone who did get it right and go ask them. Okay, number 12 is a prime factor. So I listed them all out and none add to 3, so it's just prime. Okay, number 14. So greatest common factor was 4. So then I factored out the 4. You get 3x squared minus 5x minus 12. And then you look for factors of 3 times negative 12, which is negative 36, that add up to negative 5. So I've listed them all out here. And 4 and negative 9 worked. So then you split your middle term into 2 terms, since a is not 1. And then I put them in the box. And I found my greatest common factor. And I ended up with 4 times x minus 3, 3x plus 4. So you can write this down even if you got it wrong. Find someone in the classroom who did it correctly and ask them for help. Okay, you can pause the video again and I'll work these through and give you the answers for 16 and 18. So I'm going to factor by grouping. I'm going to put them in my box. I got 2t to the 4th, t to the 3rd, negative 10t, and negative 5. My greatest common factor is t cubed. What times t cubed gives me 2t to the 4th is just 2t. What times t cubed is t cubed, and that's 1. What times 2t is negative 10t, that's negative 5. And then you can check, yep, that last one worked. So now I have 2t plus 1 times t cubed minus 5. And that's my final answer. Okay, last but not least is 18. This one has a solve, so that means we're actually looking for the value of the variable. First, check to see if it's equal to 0. Yes, it is. So now you can factor. Now I'm going to look, I actually see a greatest common factor, which is 5, so I'm going to factor that out first. So I have a y squared minus y minus 6 left over. Now I'm looking for factors of negative 6 that add up to negative 1. So I have 1 and 6, 2 and 3, and I want it to be negative with a negative, so that means I want my bigger numbers to be negative. So I get negative 5 and negative 1. So this gave me the correct factors. Since my a is 1, I can actually get rid of, or I can just do the guess and check method, which is much quicker. So I can do my 5 times y plus 2, y minus 3 equals 0. Okay, I'm not quite done yet. I need to actually solve for y, so I'm going to use the zero product property, and I get y plus 2 equals 0, y minus 3 equals 0, and I even have a 5 equals 0, but that doesn't work. That's not true, so we don't have to worry about that. We're going to subtract 2 to both sides, y equals negative 2, add 3 to both sides, y equals positive 3. So my answers are, negative 2 and positive 3. Doesn't matter what order these are written in. So as long as you got that in the end. Okay, so if you are done early, what I want you to do now is go, I guess there's actually this last page. So now we're going to do this last page, find the error. So I want you to look for the error in these two problems. So I will give you, take about 5 minutes, pause the video right here, take 5 minutes and find the error. Okay, so the error in this I have to find it as well. There's a negative and a negative right here, but they didn't factor that negative out. So that's what they're missing right there. So it should be a squared minus 6. Okay, and then find the error in these. You can actually factor further. factor further. So that's not completely factored. This would be x minus 6, and that's the a squared minus b squared. That's the difference of squares. Oh, you're not even seeing what I'm writing. This is the difference of squares. We can factor that further. So that would be x minus 3 and x plus 3. So that's what's factored. That's the final answer. Okay, we're going to move on. What is an x-intercept? An x-intercept is where the graph crosses the x-axis. What is the value of y on the x-axis? So at these points right here, what is y going to be? Y will equal 0. So that's why when we're solving these, if you've been wondering, how come we solve for 0 in these problems that we did down here? Oh, where is it? So you're wondering, why do we set that equal to 0 and solve? It's so we can find the values of our roots, which help us see where the graph crosses an axis. And this actually helps us in story problems, which we're going to cover in the next unit. Lots of those. So it says find the x-intercepts for the following graphs below. It's asking, where does your graph cross the x-axis? So from this picture, you could actually estimate it. It crosses at 0, and it crosses, it looks like, at 4. But let's double check our answer and actually factor this to find it. So we know to find those values, your x-intercepts, y has to equal 0. So we get 0 equals negative 2x to the 4th plus 16x cubed minus 32x squared. And then we need to factor completely. So look, what's my greatest common factor? Would be negative 2x squared. And left over would be x squared minus 8x plus 16, I believe. Okay. And then you factor. What is my greatest common factor? Or what factors of 16 add up to negative 8? So 1 and 16, 2 and 8, 4 and 4, and we know they all need to be negative because that's negative, so it'd be negative 4 and 4. So then I would have negative 2x squared, x minus 4 times x minus 4, and so that equals 0. So now we use our 0 product property, so it'd be negative 2x squared equals 0, and x minus 4 equals 0, and x minus 4 equals 0. And so we know that this is going to give us the same answer, which is 4. So x equals 4. And then this, we're going to divide by negative 2. X squared equals 0. So x has to equal 0. So our predictions were right. Okay. Now I want you to pause the video and do this problem right here. See what you get. I'll give you the answers so you can check them. So our answers would be, well, pause the video and then check your answers. So take about, I'd say about 3 minutes to do this problem. Okay, so your answers would be negative 8, 0, and 2, approximately. Okay. If I'm wrong, it's okay. Just go off of what you believe is correct. Okay. All right. You don't have to do these last two. Unless you really, this one's actually super fun if you want to do that one. I really like it. Okay, so if you still have remaining time in class, I'm going to have you work on your Khan Academy and make sure all of your assignments are in. Thank you so much for working diligently and working really hard. I am going to get a report back from the substitute to let me know how well you did today in class with working.